Mhm. Welcome back to Affirmations. This is a series that we do call Storytime for the children of the slaves. And the reason why we do this particular segment is because during slavery, we our children were not allowed to be children. As we know, children were sold away from parents at young ages. I saw some particular a person that was trying to find their roots, and they were tracking some things back and found out that their particular ancestor that was a slave owner had sold a child as young as like 18 months. It's unbelievable. I didn't realize they were separating children from their parents that young. But again, and also too, we talk about that because again, throughout the generations, we all have had to learn how to be that of an adult and a child at the same time because of um, us still being in the land of our captors. So we're children, but also too we were taught that we will be judged more harshly, so we have to be more cautious. So as a result, childhood has been lost for a lot of us. Okay, and so we do story time for the children of the slaves for us to be able to just tap into our inner child. It's important that we recapture our innocence. We recapture that in order to restore dreaming. That is where we dream, where we hope. Okay. And so we want to be able to do that. So today, I know we are coming off of Mother's Day. A lot of people are reflecting on their mothers. A lot of people's mothers have passed away. Mine have passed away. Um, and so we'll be talking about that a little bit more after this. But this book we're going to read today is called Momma, If You Had a Wish by Janine Modesit, illustrated by Robin Spowert. Okay. Momma. Yeah. So we're going to read this, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about it. Momma, if you had a wish, dedicated to all of us. Momma, asked little bunny, if you had a wish, would you wish I never cried? No, little bunny, answered Mamma, but it does make me sad to see you cry. Would you wish I was brave all the time and never got scared of anything? No, little bunny, said Mamma. We all get scared sometimes. What about when I get mad at you? Asked little bunny. Would you wish I never did that? No, little bunny, said Mamma. I love you when you are mad at me, and I love you when you're not. I bet I know what you would wish, said little bunny. You would wish I never made any mistakes. No, little bunny, said Mama. I love you no matter how many mistakes you make, even the big giant mistakes, even the big giant mistakes. Well, said little bunny, you probably would wish I looked different, wouldn't you? No, little bunny, said Mama. I wouldn't wish you to look any different than you do. Little bunny was quiet for a moment. Mama, if you could wish one wish about me, what would it be? The end. Oh, such a sweet book. Uh, yeah, I'm just thinking about how, listening to a lot of little parts of the book when he's like, Mama, would you wish I never made any mistakes? Would you wish I never cried? Would you wish I looked differently? And I think about how we always connect things back to slavery, how those things were a luxury where mothers had to teach the children how not to cry, how to not make mistakes because the consequences of violence and harm that could come to us if we didn't learn how to do that. And throughout the generations, we have taught our children to kind of suck it up as well. And so I think the question is, you know, are we able to, for those of us that had moms that had to raise us that way to survive, are we able to forgive mama? And for those of us who had mamas that were able to, require us to also be tough, but also allow us to be ourselves as well and express our feelings, are we able to be grateful for that? And even those that mothers couldn't provide that, but some maternal figure provided that, are you able to acknowledge that? You know, but also to understanding that all these things have been passed down from generation to generation. So a lot of these things that we read in that book were not allowed. Some of us were not allowed. There was never a reassurance. Okay, and again, understanding that a lot of times, if you hear parents or family, people that take care of us, their stories, even though things may not have been perfect the way we grew up, if you hear their stories, it was much harsh. So each generation, sometimes it gets a little better throughout the generations. The goal being to learn from what you saw growing up and choose to do it differently. Okay, because people say, well, you copy what you see. Yeah, that's true. But also, too, we are aware that we can also study a thing and then make a decision to do something differently. Okay. So, yeah, it's very interesting. One of the things, my mom passed away, and that's one of the things I've talked about on this channel, March 5th. So we did have a funeral for her, beautiful obituary. I'm going to share a little bit of it. This is my mom. My niece and sister collaborated on such a beautiful obituary for her. My mother's name was Sarah, and I thought it'd be appropriate to kind of share a little bit more about her and kind of shed some light on who I am and kind of how I turned out to be, as well as kind of even the profession that I'm in and how she's kind of contributed to that and inspired that. Sarah Mae Woodard was born October 27th, 1946 in Brazoria, Texas, to parents My grandmother married Creasy Woodard and Ward Woodard Sr., and she was her mother's right hand. She was that older daughter, right? Those older children a lot of times have a little bit more responsibility, often helping her around the house and with caring for other siblings. And a lot of us can relate to that, right? Normally, children having to pitch in, right? In 1966, she graduated from George Washington Carver High School in Sweeney, Texas. Soon after, Sarah left home to attend Prairie A&M University, where she graduated with a secretarial science degree. During her time at the university, she became the Secretary of Publications and was an integral part of the department. Her employers loved her so much that they wanted her to be a permanent employee at the university, offering her a full time job beyond graduation. Sarah opted, however, to stay at home um, at the admonishment of her husband. Um, when she was 23, she got married to Edgar L. Rice IV, my dad, in 1969. Their wedding was the first wedding at the newly built St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church. Hundreds poured in to celebrate the momentous event. She bore her first child, her daughter Consuelo Nicole Rice, in 1970. That's my oldest sister. Soon after, she bore another daughter, Ursula Dion Rice, that is me, in 1971. And rounding out the family of five, she bore a son named Edgar L. Rice V in 1974. That is my baby brother. Sarah grew up faithfully attending St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church in Missouri, Texas. After discovering a new sect of faith, she then followed her husband and became a member of the Worldwide Church of God, where she was a pivotal and dedicated member of the community, serving and traveling for about 25 years. Sarah eventually left that church after it disbanded and returned to St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, where she served in the missions department as vice president of minister and deacon wives and coordinator of church celebration. Sarah felt her mission of life was to aid others, especially her neighbors, the sick, and the elderly. She was a member of the Joyful Singers who ministered through a song to veterans and anyone who needed spiritual uplifting for 20 years. She also frequently volunteered her time to care for the end of life persons. After Sarah and her husband watched a special on Oprah Winfrey show regarding giving back to the community, Sarah encouraged her husband to start his own scholarship foundation. She became a co-founder of this foundation as well as an event organizer. And together, her and her husband gave away hundreds of thousands of dollars to youth in their Children Are Future scholarship program for 20 years. The pair were even recognized by the city of Houston, with Mayor Bill White proclaiming November 18, 2006 as Children Are Future Day. Later on in life, Sarah discovered and returned to her Hebrewic, come on words, Hebrewic roots. She once again became an active keeper of the Sabbath and the laws of the Most High. She was not only beautiful spiritually, she was also beautiful in her countenance as well. In her heyday, Sarah was frequently mistaken for a model. Her unique style, taste, and eye for fashion was truly unmatched. Although Sarah was always wanted to be humble and meek, those, let's see, those around her could feel her undeniable grace, class, and energy she carried with her wherever she went. Sarah May was the epitome of beauty and brains. Throughout her life, Sarah had a passion for antiquing and a God given talent for decorating, collecting hundreds of stunning pieces during her lifetime. For this passion, she created her own business, Special Occasion by Sarah, when she was in her 50s. Any event you needed done right, she was the woman you would call. So let me show you some pictures of my mother when she worked in college. Oh, that's some noise over there, something falling. That's mom. Back in her days in college when she worked at Prairie View. It says numerous family weddings and anniversary graduations and more all have Sarah May's fingerprint embedded in the fabric of her dedicated work through the years. Her meticulous attention to detail and hard work and dedication created many beautiful memories for those who had the pleasure of obtaining her services. In her 30s and 40s, Sarah also had successfully worked for Home Interior Decorating, Dawn Linen Fashion Company, and Herbalife Wellness Company. Life for Sarah was not always sunshine and roses. Though she always went through every hardship with a smile, Sarah overcame many trials in her life. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in her 60s. Sarah did not let that stop her. She was steadfast, remained faithful and diligent, and never let the sickness shake her spirit. After making it through her operation, Sarah was announced cancer free. Her struggles, however, weren't always physical. Sarah May battled mental health challenges for 38 years of her life. It takes a special kind of spirit to go through the hardship she went through. And Sarah was firm on her belief that mental health shouldn't be stigmatized. Sarah's mental challenges didn't define her. She championed her mental health and was adamant that she would not let her illness control her life. Even with her limits, she still remained the rock for the family and friends alike, being everything for everyone whenever they needed it. Although she may not have always received her flowers in this life, I know she is now surrounded by the garden of all the kindness she sowed here on earth. Sarah May Rice transitioned to the next phase of her journey on March 5th, 2025. She was preceded by her mother, Mary Creasy Woodard, father, Ward Woodard, sisters, and the list family members, her sisters, as well as um, us and our children. Okay. Um, and this is more pictures of mom when she was in college in her 30s. And that was a beautiful write about my mother. Really explains her, very graceful, went through a lot of struggles, always very calm, no matter what type of adversity she went through, even through her mental illness, always very kind and calm. A lot of times when people are struggling with mental health issues, and a lot of you all probably can relate to this, a lot of us have family members that struggle, some diagnosed, some not diagnosed with mental health disorders, because that's a stigma that a lot of our people we avoid. Okay. But my mom was always very gracious with that, always compliant. And even again, when she was sick, and we didn't quite know what was going on, she was always very kind and gentle. And I'm aware that a lot of times it can get quite violent sometimes when people are going through mental health breakdowns. But we were very blessed and fortunate that even when she was going through that and we didn't quite know what was going on, she was able to hold herself together in a very calm way. I always jokingly tell people my family was a reality show for people before reality shows existed, right? So a lot of discussion, kind of went on about our family. I think we were greatly admired, but I also think we were the source of a lot of conversation, um, because that was, a pretty dramatic thing to kind of go through with her, kind of having a breakdown, but again, able to deal with it very gracefully. But definitely knowing that that contributed to me being interested in mental health. Um, and I look at our people throughout history dealing with all kind of issues, and can you imagine the mental health strain, and a lot of the mental health issues are getting passed down from generation to generation, right? Epigenetics, we've talked about that, how trauma can be passed down. And so us understanding the root of that, right? Sometimes it will skip generations. Very important for self care. We talk about that. You can have triggers, not being very aware of things that overwhelm you so you can kind of protect yourself. Also, to being able to seek mental health help when you need that. In the description box, it will be information in there about that, how to find a therapist if you have insurance, if you don't, if you need to book with me, okay? Also, to information there about self-harm as well, okay? So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of share you a little bit about my mom, kind of introduce you all to um, kind of some of her struggles and kind of how I was created. Another thing too, mom was very calm, very kind of docile in a way, and I'm very opposite of that. And one of the things I'm kind of very grateful for is that she allowed me to be fully me. I was very outspoken, and she never told me quiet down, don't do that. I think she admired the fact that I'm very much a truth speaker. I'm very much will stand up for a thing. And I think she admired that. And I think sometimes parents will try to get kids to be more like them, but she literally let me be me. But again, just amazing. And another thing, too, what I love about mom, very classy, but she was not materialistic, but she loved beautiful things. And I love that no matter if we went through hardship, she did teach this element of, we had very, very beautiful, I tell people, very, very extreme highs and extreme lows. So when times, of course, were abundant and great, we had a great time. But when things were lean, that was a time to get quiet and spiritual. So again, I kind of credit her and my dad, but especially even mom, for showing us how to be when there were trials. And so that was a time to reflect and be spiritual. But those were beautiful times. They remained the same. Their self-esteem was not affected by if they when they were in excess or lack, right? And I think a lot of our ancestors had that art and that gift. And so I'm hoping as a people that we can get back to that as well, to where we are not judging ourselves by material things, because it was amazing when mom was passed away. She was so beautiful at the funeral. And I don't have a picture to show you all. But I think if you look in the post section, I think I posted pictures of that, you'll see. But you can't take any of that stuff with you. That's what hits. Can't take anything with you. So allowing ourselves to have our full self-esteem, regardless if we are financially where we want to be or not, not judging yourself on material things. Okay. So just wanted to share that with you all, and put in the comments section, any memories or thoughts about your mother. Put a pink heart in the comments section, just kind of acknowledging your own mom. I'll just show you all pictures of mom and dad. Let's see. My sister wrote a beautiful thing. This is my sister. I will read hers. Beautiful. Right. Everyone wrote a type of letter to mom. And so my sister says, she melted ice walls with her smiling grace. As I grew older, she melted mine as well. The younger version, beautiful, meek, and mild. The older version, also beautiful, meek, and mild, but for different reasons. She was brought into this world so that the lonely and misunderstood would not be alone, and to encourage those stuck to want to do better. I say this very purposely because of the way I saw her affect people's lives. At the end of the day, we are all people, no matter the title or relationship. And I know we all have stories of how she impacted our lives by what she actually did to help us get to the next level. She was a person of resources, organization, art, style, and etiquette, high IQ, and a master of anything she touched. People came to her when in need, and she often met the need without reward. She didn't expect reward, but I am now aware it is lonely for certain callings. My mother was a complex individual, a genius who took a back seat. I don't think we, as her children, even understood, or we are still trying to understand what we witnessed. Mother was brilliance encased in a glass box, able to see her own potential but choosing to stay inside. I also honor her choice to be at home with us. There is much to learn from her life, and I am sure we will try to understand, but we can't. We can only apply lessons to our own lives and try to better understand ourselves. Everything I am grew from my desire to imitate her, love her, protect her, be her confidant of her, and learn from her. She has taken many of our secrets with her to sleep and has honored friendships and relationships in doing so. It is fitting that in this final chapter, she is honored for being who she was and who we needed her to be. That's what my sister wrote. And this is a picture of me and mom. You know, and mine was pretty brief. I says, if the world is a stage, then certainly you are a class act. No matter what came in this life, you always remain calm, poised, and graceful. A true lady, even when you were treated unkind. I asked you once, why are you being so nice to someone that was so unkind to you? And you said, because I see their pain. I am still working on this, Mama. Rest in power. Love, D. That's what she called me, D. And this was my brother. Beautiful. He wrote a beautiful letter to Mama. He says, with a smile that will warm any soul, the ability to make anyone believe she sees their greatness, and a faith so strong that even her toughest moments, when the Most High was testing her faith and abilities, all I can remember is her praying and talking to her Lord and Savior, asking for Him to watch over me and my sisters. It was and is an honor to know that she was a morally sound queen, never wavering, always standing on God's business. Even though this is hard to swallow, I am grateful to the Most High for not allowing my mother to have to suffer a long period of time. You will be missed greatly, and I will love you forever, my love. Beautiful. Yeah. And this is what my dad wrote. He says, with God, you changed my life and caused it to be right. You encouraged me when things went wrong. You would say it would be okay. You never belittled me. You thought I was the best thing in the world. And that made me see you were the best person for me. The love is still deep and lasting. I'm sad now, but there will be joy when I see you again. I thank God that He put us together. So just beautiful. And then all of the grandkids also wrote beautiful, beautiful letters. You know, this is my little, they're all grown. They're like 26 now, all grown. But we put baby pictures of them with mom back in the day. You know, this is a generational picture. Another picture of mom, with grandkids. Her with my Lara Lou. Her with Clarky, little Jackson. Yes, so it was just a beautiful times, you know, just reminiscing, and just, you know, thinking about what you can learn from a loved one when they pass away, and what our moms mean to us, and a lot of times, you know, the burdens that mothers bear, you know, um, is intense. What moms are trying to do, cultivate everybody, love everybody, balance it all out. Sometimes being able to do it successfully, sometimes not, you know. Wow. So I just thought I'd share that with y'all, just to kind of give y'all more of a glimpse of, you know, my mom, and kind of who I am. And with that, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe. Um, and, you know, again, never forget your inner child, okay? Reclaim your innocence. Again, that is where we grow, where we dream, and where we still have hope, okay? And I'm hoping you all are having fond memories of your mothers and matriarchs that have cared and nurtured you throughout the years. And until next time, bye.